Let's bring in our good friend, Dr. Joe Congini, Akron Children's Hospital, with us this morning. Good morning, Joe.
Hi, Ray. How you doing today?
I'm doing real well. Well, what do you have
Good.
for us?
A couple things I want to talk about today, two things, and then a historical sports question. You're so good at them, but this is a toughie.
Okay.
And I don't tell you in advance, so if you get it, you'll impress me. But, everybody's asking me about the higher risk sports, football and soccer and others. I've been talking a little bit this week with the people at the state and around the area about some of the lower risk sports. And, in the moderate risk category, the volleyball kids and tennis kids are actually playing sport already. And the golfers, of course, are playing. Cross-country is still struggling a little bit with getting the staggered starts. You know how many cross-country meets are invitationals with lots of runners, and they have to spread that out a little bit. But I think they'll figure it out pretty quick. But the running sports are going pretty well with cross-country in the lower risk. But it brought up an interesting question. One thing that I learned in a study during the stay-at-home orders, during the quarantine period of time, there was an interesting study by Garmin. And I don't know if you saw this or not, but so many people and families were running, hiking, walking. They looked at a over 25% increase in steps during that 2-month period. And whether it's going to continue on through the summer, I haven't seen a follow-up to that study. But over 25% of people were getting out hiking, walking, running. I know our family was doing that. There wasn't a whole lot else to do. It also has been kind of interesting. You see a lot of people walking around now with those boots on for stress fractures. Maybe they did a little too much. But that might end up being kind of a good thing, is that people were getting back to those activities. But when it comes specifically to running, Ray, through most of the summer, we know there's been a cancellation of the marathon, the half marathons, the 10 and 5Ks, but still a lot of people are running recreationally. But one of the things that happened in the last several months that kind of got by me a little bit is this incredible barrier of trying to break the 2-hour barrier for marathons. And it actually was done by a Kenyan several months ago. His name is Elliot Kipchoge, and he did it in 1:59:40, I believe, 1 hour, 59 minutes. He broke the 2-hour barrier for a 26-mile marathon. And so here's the question. Mm-hmm. You might remember, and this is even before you and I were kids, when the big barrier was in the mile, breaking a 4-minute mile for the first time. And this is a really, really tough question. You remember who the Brit was who broke the mile barrier?
Oh, I can see him running. Oh, boy. No, I can't. Go ahead.
Roger Bannister
yes,
in 1954.
Roger Bannister.
Yeah, broke. But the one thing about Kipchoge's record, have you also seen, and this caught me a little bit by surprise, they are questioning whether it's going to stick in the record books or not, partly because of the pacers that he used. He had different pacers that would jump in the race with him. He was virtually running pretty close to 4-minute miles for 26 miles to do it in under 2 hours. But he also had a special kind of shoe. And have you seen some of the controversy about the Vaporfly shoe from Nike?
No.
There's other shoes like it that are out there, but they're called Propulsion shoes. They have a certain bounce or spring to them. And now there's kind of a measure of measuring how much bounce or spring there is in a shoe. And certain shoes may be illegal for distance running and marathon running. And there's a question as to whether this record is going to stand because of the propulsion shoe called the Vaporfly Nike shoe that he wore, because of the bounce effect or the spring effect that he got. By the way, for your people that are runners out there that just say they want to try a similar shoe, those are available for anybody to get, but they're about $350, a very specially made shoe. The propulsion shoe is what people in running call it. But anyway, a lot of people got outside during that 2 or 3 month period. The Garmin study showed over 25% increase in hiking, jogging, and walking, which is a good thing. And but amazing record was broken in running a marathon in under 2 hours. And some of the things related to that and the shoes and everything got by me a little bit. So our high school kids are starting to try to run. We have to figure out a way to spread out the cross-country runners, but that's happening very soon, and that's one of the latest things in the new phases of getting back to sport.
And, Joe, just a sidebar, I think that's crazy to not put that in the record book. I mean, we could go through equipment through all the years. That would be like taking Tiger Woods' victories in some of the PGA events because he's using different equipment than Ben Hogan used back 30, 40 years ago. I think that's crazy. Equipment is equipment. I
do, too, and, that's not my specific specialty, but certainly in 30 years plus, I've run into a lot of runners, and there's been footwear come and go over a long period of time. And most of the people that I talked to in the running world did not think that this was an unfair advantage, so much so to wipe out the record. So I'm with you. I think it's pretty amazing what Kipchoge did, and we'll follow it as we see. It's something like Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. We are down now to, I think the world record is 3:44. We looked it up the other day. So these records keep being broken, but kind of interesting stuff. And maybe a little good sidebar is that people got out and did a lot of hiking, walking, and jogging. All right, Joe. Great stuff this morning. Thanks. Sorry I failed you on the test, though, my friend. I'll do better next week. I told you that was a super hard Jeopardy-type question, and so that's a toughie. I won't ask any more tough ones like that, but thanks. I know we can both kind of picture in our head. That was a big deal when he broke that barrier. I agree. Thanks, Joe. Catch up with you next week. Thanks, Ray. Have a great week. You too. Dr. Joe Congini, Akron Children's Hospital.